different ayahs, with the different positions, when he talked about the dowry, when we give it to our spouses, our wives, Rahman subhanahu wa ta'ala. Just for example, وَإِن طَلَّقْتُمُوهُنَّ مِنْ قَبْلِ أَن تَمَسُّهُنَّ وَقَدْ فَرَضْتُمْ لَهُنَّ فَرِيضَةً فَنِصْفُ مَا فَرَضْتُمْ إِلَّا أَن يَعْفُونَ أَوْ يَعْفُوَ الَّذِي بِيَدِهِ عُقْدَةُ النِّكَاحِ وَأَن تَعْفُوا أَقْرَبُ لِلتَّقْوَى, etc. of the ayahs, or whatever you can say. As I mentioned at the beginning, I'm just giving examples. What I'm doing right now, I'm just clicking the subject with your minds to do your homework. I'm not giving you the full ilm about that issue. I'm just opening the doors for you to go home, to open the Mus'haf, to try to find what is the kinds of transactions Surat Al-Baqarah talked about, and how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala organized our daily actions during our life, like throwing everything we have in our life. Okay, at the beginning we give money to our wives to start that kind of life. What is the importance of that dowry, and why we are giving money for our wives? Somebody saying we are buying them. It's so cheap if you're gonna buy a woman with $20,000 or $10,000. It's nothing comparing with the value of her in home, and what she's doing. It's nothing comparing with that. We are giving the same amount with the car to stay with us like 5 years or 6 years or even 10 years, and your wife gonna stay with you a long time. Subhanallah, it's gonna worth like 30,000 and instead of 20, 40, 45. We're talking about the human being, not about the car, not about the factory things. We are talking about the vector of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah created that human being for me, as he mentioned in Surah Al-Rum, خَلَقَ لَكُمْ. He created for you. This product, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created لَكُمْ. Did you see that before? وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ أَنْ خَلَقَ لَكُمْ. When the people talked about the ayah over there, oh, he created the women for the men, he created men for them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala exactly meant, subhanahu wa ta'ala meant, he created for me my wife. From the early beginning, he created this girl from this one to grow up with that mentality, to come to me one time, and he created me to her. You know what I mean? Okay, anyway, when we talk about the human being and giving the dowry, why we're giving that? Just to let her prepare herself, to buy whatever she wants, to be ready to that completely different of transactions she's gonna be after being a girl at home, and like making fun of everybody around her, like enjoying her time, I don't know how can I translate, بتدلع لأبوها وأمها في البيت, and she's gonna have a kind of responsibility. As my girl in my home, she doesn't have any kind of responsibility until I ask her to give me like a water or cooking something, or just Baba, please take care of your, your study, your college, whatever. What's she gonna come to me as a wife, that girl, once she gonna come to me as a wife, it means we're talking about the two different positions, dad or husband. It's not the same. I grow up my daughter until she's ready to be a wife, and somebody coming to me, ask, okay, here you go, and you have your agreement. He gonna give her a dowry. Why? Just to prepare herself. You know what I mean? And this is a kind of transaction. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't ignore it, but he mentioned subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Al-Baqarah. What about the maintenance of for that home? Like, what are you calling, like householding? Who has that responsibility about the home? Is there a kind of transactions every single day she's asking you to give her money because she wants to go to the Costco, and I know you are familiar with the what do you call it? Sam's Club, Okay, we're not making advertisements, by the way. Nobody gonna give us money, Don't worry about that. And subhanallah al-qadir, she's asking money and I am giving money. If she's working, she can help us, and so and so. But from the early beginning, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala organized that frame of giving money to both of the sides, or one of the sides to the other. And what kind of we're gonna give? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, just for example, أسكنوهن من حيث سكنتم من وجودكم ولا تضاروهن لتضيقوا عليهن. وإن كن أولات حمل فأنفقوا عليهن حتى يضعن حملهن. What does that mean? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks us, it's obligatory for the men, to like cover or guarantee the house or the home or the shelter, whatever kind, of that one, to her to be there. Forgive me about my English if I said wrong words in a different positions. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asking me to cover all of that for my wife. And by the way, I will not live in a castle, and I give her like an apartment. She gonna be with me wherever I am gonna be. She gonna be with me in the same level, in the same position, in the same like facility and whatever. We can move to if she's giving offspring or she's giving a baby. What is the transactions here? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks us again, وَالْوَالِدَاتُ يُرْضُعْنَ أَوْلَادَهُنَّ حَوْلَيْنِ كَامِلَيْنِ. And she has to be covered. Where is that money going to come? What is the source of the money she going to get from? She going to get her money from me. And this is the kind of transactions we are dealing with every single day. If she is being like a divorce, نسأل الله السلامة والعافية لبيوت المسلمين يا رب العالمين اللهم آمين. What we supposed to do? Even in the disagreement situation, we're still required to give a money until that period of time. We are calling the transactions, or I'm sorry, like a transition. I'm sorry for that. The transition for her to move this place, being with this man, getting the expenses, and she's gonna move all of that habits to another situation. She's gonna be divorced at that time. Where is she gonna go back? Let me talk about something. Wallahi, the majority of the people, they are confused about that. What is that concept? Concept al-mut'ah. Did you hear about that before? Al-mut'ah. What does that mean? What is the women gonna get after divorce? What is the amount of the mut'ah? The amount of the mut'ah, like some money she gonna get because of, like, what are you calling مكافأة نهاية الخدمة? What are you calling that? Sorry? Retirement package? Okay, did you understand the meaning of retirement package? We're not talking about retirement right now. We're talking about the different transition in her life. What she gonna leave and what she gonna face. Imagine if I have a wife, her dad a rich man and he has a lot of money, and she was in a castle before coming to me, and she gonna be divorced. Where's she gonna go back? She gonna go back to her place. It means she gonna go from the lower to upper. What I need to give her, it doesn't matter, because nothing gonna be different. If you're gonna give her like a $100,000, it will not make a difference with her because of her dad. Her dad is a millionaire or like a multi-millionaire or whatever. It doesn't matter. Whatever you're gonna give. But if she's gonna go from this level to nothing, I need to cover her until she pass that transition, in her period time, in her exact time, until she find another place. And this is the wisdom of the mut'ah. You know what I mean? Because the nafaqah are the obligatory thing. We need to give a nafaqah until she needs or she has any kind of responsibility related to me. At the beginning, we're going to give her a nafaqah until the final second in the marriage time. I gave the divorce word, and she has a iddah. How many? What is the long of the? What is the time over there? 3 months. Okay, like we're gonna say 3 months. I have to cover her expenses, whole package, until the last minute ended up. Okay, this is the nafaqah. Because of what? Because of the marriage relationship. If she is covering or taking the responsibility about my children, she has a responsibility belong to me, because my children with her. At that time, I'm going to give a nafaqah because of her or because of my children, because of my children, and I'm going to cover her with 1, 2, 3, 4, so and so. Okay, if she is A pregnant, she gonna take the same amount or the same expenses as long as she has a baby or whatever. This is a kind of transactions or kind of dealing with the other side of the family, and what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave it us as a direction to take care of that. If any one of us, like two parts in the family, dead or passed away, okay, what is the money wise we're going to talk about here? We're going to talk about inheritance. And she's going to take a part of my money, or I'm going to take a part of her money, depends on who passed away. And this is the right. It's not voluntarily money we're going to give. It's obligatory. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala أمرنا أن نحصل أو أن نعطي هذه الأموال من الميراث. Let us say another kind of transactions. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked us وَيَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْيَتَامَى قُلْ إِصْلَاحٌ لَهُمْ خَيْرٌ. This is another kind of giving money, this money-wise, right? Money-wise, different, completely different position we are going to give the money to. When we talk about the orphans in the community, who had the responsibility about them? If we have orphan in this community, like 2 or 3 or 4 or 100 or, who had the responsibility about them? What do you think? Community. Jazakallah khair. The whole community had the responsibility about them. If we are putting a box over here and this is for the orphan, and we have like 10 or 13 or whatever, I need to deal with them with the same way I am dealing with my children. As long as we have somebody we trust him covering their needs and taking care of them, as a householder for them or something, whatever he's asking us, obligatory, we need to cover their expenses with the wise way, actually. It's whatever I am doing with my children at home, I need to do with this with them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, قُلْ إِصْلَاحٌ لَهُمْ خَيْرٌ. What kind of islah? The islah is like the making better for them. What kind of making better for them? With the educational wise, with the clothes, with the food, with the, sheltering them and everything. Whatever they need, we need to give because of this is the order from Rabbil Alameen subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let us move the families to go to the community. And we're going to find at the beginning when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, أَحَلَّ اللَّهُ الْبَيْعَ وَحَرَّمَ الرِّبَى. It means the riba as a concept, it's prohibited by the words of Rabbil Alameen subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he said subhanahu wa ta'ala, الذين يأكلون الربا لا يقومون إلا كما يقوم الذي يتخبطه الشيطان من المس ذلك بأنهم قالوا إنما البيع مثل الربا وأحل الله البيع وحرم الربا. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talked about this issue, he said the bay' or trade is halal, but the riba is haram. It means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala organized to me the way of transactions I'm going to deal with the people. I cannot give you $5 and take it back as a $7 without any different reason, by the way. Without any different reason. If we have a different reason or adding something or a benefit or fees or whatever, it's not calling a riba, it's calling something different. Anything not reasonable causing different amount of the money, we're going to consider that as a riba and we cannot deal with it. You know what I mean? With this concept, we're going to go back to deal with like buying the homes from the banks and so on. So all of the issues we can talk about in a different time. But right now we are talking about just a frame, because as I mentioned at the beginning, I'm not giving you a lecture about how can we deal with the transaction. I'm just giving a keys about the transactions, the money-wise transactions happening or mentioned in Surah Al-Baqarah, and we need to go back to look for all of that. The cheating or fraud. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, يا أيها الذين آمنوا in Surah Al-Baqarah, لا تأكلوا أموالكم بينكم بالباطل وتدلوا بها إلى الحكام لتأكلوا فريقا من أموال الناس بالإثم وأنتم تعلمون. لا تأكلوا أموالكم بينكم بالباطل. Don't cheat each other. It means any kind of transactions in our daily life, it has to be clear and clear enough to convince the other side. I don't want to buy something from you, and you're going to sell it to me. And when I go home, I'm going to rethink about what if that man did with me. And I cannot sleep at that night. And coming back to you next day and asking you, brother, you did something wrong. Okay, I don't care about you. The transaction is done. You know, the transaction is done. Your money in my bank account right now. I don't care about you. This is not a way in our deen when we deal with each other. Either you're going to clarify to me what you did exactly and make me satisfied, or you're going to return my money back as long as I'm returning your stuff back. It's to make a story short, this is the clean and clear ways of the transactions we need to have in our daily life. Subhanallah al-Qadir, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, even if you're going to borrow the money from the other people, do you know the longest ayah in the whole Quran? يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا تداينتم بدين إلى أجل مسمى فاكتبوه وليكتب بينكم كاتب بالعدل ولا يأبى كاتب ولا يكتب. All of that ayah, it's like a one page in a mushaf, just talking about the loan and how can we say it like documenting. How can we make it as a document? How can we register that? How can we make sure everything it's clear and documented and like written or whatever, even if we don't have like a paper and pen, and we're gonna have like a witnesses, it means it's gonna be documented either in the minds of the people or on the paper, and like guaranteed wherever I'm gonna go to the judge, he's gonna give me my right. This is another way of transactions every single day we are doing. Brother, wallahi, I'm stuck with the, can I have like a couple of $1,000s? Oh, brother, tfaddal, here you go. This is a check, tfaddal. When are you going to bring it back? Inshallah, just 1 week, 2 weeks, inshallah, man, okay. Even the check, whatever, protect you from me and protect you and me from the whispering of the shaitan, you know, it's going to be enough to document that loan. This is a clear loan from this person and this person. SubhanAllah, like a few days ago, I was somewhere and I find one of my friends, SubhanAllah, asking another person like a big amount of money actually. And he called me, Ahmed, can you come here? Okay, I think you have something between, okay, please come. And he showed me a paper. They are just writing. You know, what is the transaction happening between them? And he asked me, Akhi, are you going to be if this person came to the court or whatever, and he asked me to come, I have to be there. I have to show up. You know, this is another kind. توثيق الديون, as we mentioned in آية الدين. أحل الله البيع وحرم الربا, as we mentioned. We have a big topic when we talk about the financial transactions in Surat al-Baqarah, and what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talked about regarding this topic. As I mentioned at the beginning, Jazakumullah ta'ala khairan. Wallahi, we need to go back to open the Mus'haf